Hi, I'm Kirsten, and this is Reid. Like she said, we had the pleasure of working with Ms. Hanning to pilot the program for the 8th graders, and just to, I didn't know how much went into an engineer's job. Growing up, it was just kind of like they make things and that's it. But there's a lot of paperwork that goes into it, and I learned a lot about documentation and just how the whole process is system. So Ms. Hanning came in and said that she's looking for companies to come with a challenge for the students to build something in Inventor and work with the software there, and to then print the product or whatever problem they needed solved. And so she came in as our customer, and she wanted us to make badges that represented the person or wearer's personality. And so several of us came up with different designs and went through the whole process of just constraints and problems we came across, along with documentation, and then the final presentation.
So some of our constraints, we had to have a certain size. Obviously that's really important for businesses who need to have things scaled correctly. That was the main one. We wanted a general shape. If you guys are familiar with the Star Trek badges, that's the general idea of what they were supposed to look like. And then 3 millimeters thick. That was the general idea. There's some of them floating around in the cabinet and in the 3D printing room.
Okay, and then functionality, just means of attaching the pin to someone's clothing was kind of a problem for us, just because the original idea was to print the pin and the frog that you would be able to attach it to your clothing with, and then we came across the problem of the thinness of the pin would be too fragile and would break every time if you tried to print it. So we had to come up with solutions for that, and we had to get designs approved by the consumer, and those are some examples of what we drew. Just different types, extruding, cut throughs, just kind of a combination. It was really a personal preference of what the customer wanted. I guess I just talked about that.
So yeah, these are our features. What we ended up coming up with for the solution for attaching was either a pin or a magnet. We kind of thought that magnets would work better. You can basically just cut a little hole in the back as you model it, and then glue a magnet in, and it's seamless. And then you just need a metal plate or something to go on the back, and that's pretty simple also. No other real function here, it's just all aesthetics. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, and so cost was a big thing. We want to be relatively, I don't want to say cheap, but cost effective. So overall, she wanted that each badge be less than $2 to make, and so things that include would be the magnets, just kind of off-the-shelf magnets I found some from Walmart, but the print powder, print ink, bonding agent, and the man hours would be our total cost overall. And just kind of, I think this was one of the more difficult parts, because you do not really know how much of the powder you're using. It's really hard to gauge how much of the bonding agent, and you buy it in bulk and it can continue to use it for several. So it was a little bit more difficult to figure out how much was going into each one.
So we used a lot of spreadsheets for various things. This is our price cost analysis sheet. Basically, we just set up a bunch of formulas so that all we had to do was put in inputs for any given object that we're going to print, and it would calculate the approximate cost for us. Then this is a requirements matrix. Same idea, and not so many formulas, just showed us what we had left to do and what we had already done, how we were doing with our goals.
Okay, and then this is my time log. So Ms. Hanning really wanted us to keep track of how much time was going into this, because basically that is your man hours of how much. And so we could base our cost off of just paid hours for man hours worked. And so that was kind of mine. And so we modeled everything in Inventor, and I think all of us are certified in Inventor now. If you don't know anything about Inventor, it's used for 3D modeling and presentations. I think what's really cool about it is you can use physics and real-life data to test your model before production. And so if something's too fragile, there's too much stress on a piece, it'll tell you. And so before you manufacture, you don't run into those kind of problems. And so Inventor just includes parts, assemblies, presentations, and drawings. And this is one of my drawings. It's really cool because you can do different angles and just to see the whole piece.
So this is the 3D printer that we had, that the STEM Center has here. Yeah, I mean, it prints gypsum powder. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with that. Yeah, I mean, it prints gypsum powder. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with that. A lot of 3D systems people here. Next slide. That's it. Well, that's all we have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.